The upgraded B-52 creates a powerful contradiction that makes adversaries nervous. It is one of the oldest bombers in the world, yet with modern systems, it becomes more dangerous than aircraft built 60 years later. That contradiction is the hook that defines the channel's purpose. When rivals see this bomber on radar, they are not seeing a relic. They are reacting to a platform that can deliver hypersonic missiles, nuclear cruise missiles, precision strikes, and vast conventional payloads from thousands of miles away. This modernized bomber forces nations to prepare for attacks they cannot easily stop or predict, exposing a fundamental weakness in their defense planning. The aircraft's age becomes irrelevant. Its new capabilities turn it into a dominant, long-range threat multiplier. The emotional tension comes from its simple persistence. Most aircraft should have retired decades ago, but the B-52 did not. It adapted. Engineers gave it modern sensors, advanced systems, and new weapons bays. This stubborn longevity carries strategic weight. Adversaries know that when a crisis begins, a B-52 can appear without warning and stay on station for very long periods. That endurance creates stress. It forces air defense networks to remain active constantly, draining their budgets and resources. The mere presence of the bomber shapes enemy strategy before a weapon is even loaded. The primary goal of the upgrades is to ensure that long-range strike platforms remain lethal in an age of dense, modern air defenses. Old systems cannot survive direct penetration missions, but the B-52 now avoids that risk entirely. It has become the definitive standoff weapon truck. It stands far outside hostile airspace, safely beyond the range of most defenses, and launches precision munitions that travel the necessary distance instead. This protects the aircraft while still delivering decisive, destructive power. This capability exposes adversary vulnerability. They cannot reach the platform that is destroying their assets. The 1760 internal weapons bay upgrade is central to this transformation. By moving advanced weapons inside the bay, the jet increases its precision-guided bomb capacity by nearly 70%. It also improves aerodynamics, allowing for longer range and better fuel efficiency. These upgrades have a massive psychological impact on enemy military planning. Every additional precision bomb carried inside the aircraft represents another potential target that must be defended, another immense cost adversaries must absorb, and another reason to treat the bomber with serious fear. This continuous pressure is part of what makes the B-52 so feared. It forces enemies to think in layers. They cannot focus only on stealth fighters. They must assume a B-52 can strike at any moment from far beyond the reach of their immediate defenses.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
Authority comes from the seamless integration of new weapons. The modernized aircraft can carry the long-range Standoff nuclear cruise missile. It can also deploy anti-ship missiles, smart bombs, cluster munitions, and the upcoming hypersonic systems like the ARRW. Each weapon adds a new, unique problem for defenders to solve. Nuclear cruise missiles require different countermeasures than hypersonic weapons. Anti-ship missiles require different targeting networks than land attack munitions. This forces adversaries to build diverse, expensive defense layers. Knowing the bomber can select the weapon that ruthlessly exploits their weakest point. The bomber's flexibility represents a style of strategic thinking that values persistence, adaptation, and cost-effective dominance. Nations treat it differently because they know what it carries. They know the aircraft does not need to cross the border to be lethal. They know its payload can change an entire battlefield with one successful launch order. The upgraded avionics and sensors create urgency in its operations. The addition of a modern AESA radar gives the bomber sharper imaging, better target tracking, improved jamming resistance, and longer range detection. This helps crews plan strikes more accurately and react faster to changing conditions. Advanced electronic warfare systems add another vital layer. They shield the aircraft from detection, confuse enemy radars, and increase survivability during standoff launch missions. These upgrades make the bomber more than a delivery platform. They make it a dominant information node that can coordinate with fighters, satellites, and ground forces. The tension grows when considering its unmatched global reach. The B-52 can fly intercontinental distances with aerial refueling. It can launch weapons from outside enemy territory and return home without ever exposing itself to hostile air defense networks. This capability creates a true strategic nightmare for adversaries. A country may not see the bomber, but they know it could be there. They cannot assume safety simply because their local radars are clear. The bomber's range places entire continents within its reach. This expands tension from local defense concerns to global anxiety. For nations with limited resources, the financial cost of maintaining constant readiness becomes overwhelming. The bomber's mere presence is enough to drastically alter adversary behavior. Strategic analysts have confirmed for decades that the B-52's endurance, payload, and flexibility create disproportionate psychological pressure. It can fly near contested borders or operate from distant bases. Every appearance sends the same ruthless message. Long-range precision strike capability is present, ready, and survivable. This message forces adversaries to divert resources, move military assets, change operational plans, and prepare for scenarios they would prefer to avoid. The emotional arc peaks when the bomber carries hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic weapons change the timeline of conflict entirely. They travel too fast for many defenses to intercept and reduce enemy reaction time dramatically. When an upgraded B-52 carries such weapons, the aircraft becomes a rapid response platform that can threaten critical infrastructure, command centers, and high-value assets before defenses can even adjust. This shifts the balance of power decisively, asserting U.S. dominance. A single bomber carrying hypersonics can force entire air defense systems to operate differently. The modernized engines planned for the fleet extension add another critical layer. They increase fuel efficiency, reduce maintenance demands, and give the aircraft better range and superior reliability. This pushes the bomber's service life even further, potentially into the 2050s. The idea that a 100-year-old bomber can still shape global strategy is deeply unsettling to opponents. Longevity becomes intimidation. The upgraded B-52 forces adversaries to build expensive countermeasures. They must invest in longer-range radars, better missile defenses, and stronger intelligence networks. They must assume the bomber can approach from unpredictable directions, launch at unknown distances, and carry multiple types of weapons. This drains enemy budgets and complicates their planning, ensuring maximum audience satisfaction from the enemy's exposed weakness. A single aircraft becomes a continuous source of strategic pressure.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
The final payoff arrives when considering deterrence. The upgraded B-52 does not need to fire a shot to create impact. Its modern weapons bay, advanced sensors, and standoff missile loadouts give it the inherent power to alter situations simply by taking off. When a B-52 launches from the United States or a forward base, adversaries react immediately. They raise alert levels, reposition their forces, and recalculate risk. The bomber multiplies the psychological and operational burden placed on opposing commanders. The new B-52 deployment cycle works because it turns distance into a weapon. It allows the United States to strike targets far beyond the reach of enemy retaliation by using three elements that reinforce each other: extreme range, aerial refueling, and long-range standoff missiles. When these elements lock together, they create a strike system that can hit almost anywhere on the planet without ever entering the danger zone of enemy defenses. The core contradiction is powerful. The enemy cannot reach the bomber, but the bomber can reach the enemy. That imbalance is the definition of dominance. Deployment cycles strengthen the entire model. Instead of keeping bombers locked inside the United States and sending them out only during large operations, the Air Force now rotates B-52s through key regions. These rotations place the aircraft within rapid launch distance of critical areas without putting them in direct danger. The bombers train with allies, operate inside familiar air corridors, and prepare for real-world missions. When a crisis emerges, they can respond in hours, not days. This matters because modern conflict moves fast. A bomber already deployed forward, refueled, and ready becomes a deterrent that adversaries cannot ignore. The deployment cycle creates urgency. It delivers a message of unwavering readiness. We are already here. We can strike now. Do not test us. This approach solves long-standing challenges. It reduces logistical strain, increases pilot readiness through constant training, and integrates U.S. forces with allied bases. All of these effects make the bomber more valuable than its raw range might suggest. The B-52 is more than a machine. It represents continuity, stability, and reliable power projection. The new deployment cycle leverages that identity. Instead of treating the aircraft as an old platform being stretched for time, the Air Force positions it as a proven long-range strike leader in the emerging era of missile warfare. The B-52's ability to hit targets far beyond retaliation range also reshapes global strategy. When adversaries know the bomber can launch from continents away, their countermeasures become harder and more expensive. They must extend radar coverage, deploy longer-range defensive missiles, and invest in early warning systems. Every dollar they spend defending against the B-52 is a dollar not spent on offensive capability. This is classic strategic pressure. Force the enemy to invest in solutions that may never work. This is the definition of controlled schadenfreude. The enemy is forced to spend massively, only to expose their continued weakness. Missile capability is the final anchor in the system. Modern cruise missiles can navigate complex terrain, avoid radar, and strike deep inside enemy territory with high accuracy. Hypersonic weapons push this even further. Once launched, these missiles cover huge distances at extreme speed, making interception almost impossible. When paired with the bomber's range and refueling capability, they create a layered strike system that no adversary can reliably counter. The bomber does not need stealth, and it does not need speed. It only needs distance and weapons that outrange enemy defenses. The psychological impact of this combination should not be underestimated. Adversaries cannot predict when a bomber will be in the region, and they cannot accurately determine its target. They cannot rely on distance to protect their critical infrastructure. This uncertainty destabilizes aggressive plans and makes sudden attacks less appealing. Strategic planners call this deterrence through ambiguity. It works by creating doubt. Doubt slows enemy decisions, prevents escalation, and protects U.S. dominance. The closing insight brings every element together. The new B-52 deployment cycle gives the United States a dominant global strike platform that stays alive by staying away. It uses range to create safety, refueling to create endurance, and standoff missiles to create lethal reach. It uses forward rotations to create a persistent presence. Every piece supports the others, forming a system that can hit almost any target on Earth while remaining outside the enemy's ability to retaliate. It is not just efficient or just powerful, it is strategically elegant, and it ensures that the B-52 remains not just relevant, but central to American air power for decades. The truth is that the B-52's new avionics are now wired directly into modern stealth networks, turning a non-stealth airframe into a lethal, connected node. The B-52 now sees what stealth platforms see, knows what they know, and strikes with precision once thought impossible for a 70-year-old design. The contradiction makes enemies nervous. A giant bomber, slow and obvious on radar, should be easy to plan against. But once you plug that bomber into real-time digital links, advanced data fusion, and stealth-powered situational awareness, everything changes. Now, the B-52 isn't operating with its own sensors, it is operating with the sensors of an entire stealth ecosystem. This exposes a massive weakness in adversary planning. Their defenses were designed to target individual platforms, not an integrated kill web. The emotional weight behind that fear is real. Rivals have spent billions building layered air defenses meant to stop aircraft like the B-52. Suddenly, those defenses don't work as expected. The bomber no longer flies blind. It no longer waits for satellites to update targeting. It now receives data directly from B-21s, F-35s, stealth drones, and digital surveillance platforms. Every threat picture, every target track, every radar emission, spotted by a stealth survivor, is instantly shared with the aging bomber in the back of the formation. That gives the B-52 a view of the battlefield that was once reserved only for fifth-generation fighters. This network alignment fixes the bomber's main vulnerability. The B-52 becomes part of a real-time kill chain stretching across multiple domains. Instead of being a slow, standalone platform, the B-52 becomes the long-arm executor of stealth-collected intelligence. The problem adversaries now face is a complete loss of control. Their traditional planning depended on forcing U.S. bombers to operate far from modern air defenses. They assumed the B-52 would fire only long-range standoff weapons without updated targeting. But the new avionics deliver constant retasking. If a target moves, the bomber knows. If an enemy radar switches mode, the bomber knows. If an opening appears for a precision strike, the bomber can launch immediately without waiting for outside guidance. Real-time updates shift the psychology of war. Instead of dealing with a predictable adversary, rivals face an old bomber acting with the lethal reflexes of a stealth jet. That unpredictability creates profound fear. Military planners rely on patterns, but the B-52 breaks patterns by aligning itself with assets designed to break detection cycles. The bomber can fire long-range missiles with targets fed from stealth platforms that never reveal themselves. Survivability grows through information dominance. The B-52 is still a large radar target, but now it knows exactly what radars are tracking it, how far their range extends, and where their blind spots lie. With that knowledge, a slow bomber becomes exponentially harder to destroy. This capability delivers maximum satisfaction to the audience. The enemy is outsmarted by a simple digital connection. Dynamic targeting raises stakes even higher. The B-52 receives orders, updates, and new tasking in real time. That means targets thought safe, mobile headquarters, missile batteries, communications hubs, can be struck minutes after detection, not hours. The speed compresses an enemy's decision cycle. They cannot reposition quickly enough, and they cannot hide long enough. The bomber hits before their counterplan finishes forming. Every networked strike also creates uncertainty. Adversaries cannot guess whether the kill shot will come from a stealth bomber, a drone, a fighter, or a B-52 sitting far outside their airspace. The network blurs origins. It removes the ability to map threat patterns. And when threat origins blur, defense strategies collapse. The B-52 adds a massive node with unparalleled range and payload. Killing it requires resources most nations cannot afford to lose. The upgraded avionics turn the B-52 into a mobile command asset as much as a bomber. It can coordinate with stealth aircraft, drones, satellites, and ground forces in near real time. In a high-stress battle, that coordination overwhelms slower opponents. They cannot respond at the speed the network demands, and their defenses become reactive, not proactive. When an aircraft gains this level of integration, its psychological weight multiplies. Rivals cannot simply target it. They must target the entire network. The final reason adversaries fear the B-52's new avionics alignment is simple and unsettling. The bomber is no longer a relic of the past. It is a bridge to a dominant future, a fully integrated, digitally empowered, network-centric weapon that magnifies the power of stealth across the battle space. And as long as it flies in that role, rival nations know one truth: they are never safe from its reach, asserting an inevitable U.S. control over the strategic environment. What you've seen is only the beginning. America's power is just getting started. On your screen is the next video. Click the video, it opens right away, and you'll watch U.S. jets and technology strike even harder.